Alexa or OK Google, just say, play 96.9 The Game. 96.9 Radio. The Game. WYGM Orlando. WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando. The home of the UCF Knights.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Happy Thursday, everybody. We are live. We are live. We are local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. on FM 96.9 The Game. You can also find us on AM 740 and HD Radio 101.1-2. That, of course, is on your FM dial HD. You can also watch us live and in color on social media. Just go to YouTube, search for the Open Mic live stream, and there we are. You can see me, Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. You can also see Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect. And you can also see Austin Pastolka, the Salt of Sound, tickling the ivories.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. And let me tell you something. I've got sitting to my right, I'll bring it on camera. It is a half-gallon of protein. It's a whole half-gallon of protein, Mike.
What, protein? It's a shake?
It's a protein shake, wild berry flavored, 80 grams of protein that I can just sip throughout the day because I'm back on the health kick after gaining 10 pounds from Easter and WrestleMania weekends.
From gorging yourself at WrestleMania?
Oh, yeah, all the beef short rib that I ate, the chicken marsala. Delicious.
I put on some poundage, too. For some reason, I've had this hankering for Publix fried chicken twice in the last week.
Oh.
I've gotten the 8-piece Publix fried chicken and gorged myself on it on a number of meals. So, yeah, not good. Not good.
You mean fantastic.
Well, it tastes fantastic, but the aftermath, not so good. Yeah. All right, we want to hear from you guys throughout the course of the show. You can give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. We, of course, have your chance to win $1,000 3 times during the show, starting at 7:10 a.m. and then 8:10 a.m. and 9:10 a.m. and then on throughout the day on the 10s. Just listen for the keyword. And when you hear it, go to our website, 969thegame.com, enter that keyword, and you could win $1,000 compliments of International Diamond Center. We like to begin every show with the Open Mic Early Morning Inspirational Quote of the Day. This comes from the great Jada Selner, who once said, and I quote, "It's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes you have to break before we shine." Intellect?
Well, first of all, I know that this one doesn't have too much age to it. I mean, because those glow sticks were around like in the, early 80s. Listen, if you had
glow sticks are still around today, brother.
But I mean, this is when they first started, and nothing was cooler to get like for Halloween. And if you were going to be out, they were great. They were this plastic thing that had this liquid in there. You'd have to shake the liquid, and then you would snap it. And you didn't really understand how that science worked. All you knew what you had to do to make it light up was you had to break it first. And she's saying, listen, that little snapping sound, that break, sometimes it's not so bad because that's what releases maybe your inner creativity, your creative juices flowing, which then can be the light of the world.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. We have a nice show today. A lot of hot topics we're going to get to. Florida lawmakers voted yesterday to ban transgender females from playing high school and college sports in the state of Florida. Actually, it's not passed the Senate yet, but the legislature, the Florida House passed it. We'll get into that topic. A lot of other topics to get to as well. They're requiring fans, by the way, up in Buffalo this fall. If you want to go to a Buffalo Bills football game, you are required to be vaccinated for COVID-19. We'll get into that issue as well. But first, give me a little magic music. Oh, yeah. Hey, Vooch, how'd that taste? How'd that taste, Vooch?
Watch out, beware. Get you.
Hey, don't look now, but the Orlando Magic have a better record than the Chicago Bulls since the Vooch trade. The rebuilding Magic beat Nikola Vucevic and the Bulls last night, 115-106 to end a 6-game losing streak. Here's what it sounded like.
Time ticking down in the quarter. Levine looking for an opening. Passes to Vucevic. He got it at the horn. Harris for 3. Wendell Carter throws it down over Vucevic. They're just staying with it, wanting it, David. Chicago, no timeouts remaining. And a steal by Carter Williams. He'll drive and dunk it in.
Well, first of all, our defense, I mean, we had 48 deflections, which is, it just shows effort into the ball. And then, I mean, the guys that to me stood out, James Ennis, obviously, with his defense and his shooting. Wendell had a terrific all. I mean, a lot of guys played well, Gary well. MCW, those guys are telling me that they're shocked that he was even able to continue to play. And then Dante Hall, who obviously, particularly in the first half, was a real factor with his basket protection. So, hey, I'm happy for the guys. They've hung in there.
That was Steve Clifford. The Dante Hall era begins last night for the Magic. Mo Bamba out with a hip contusion. The Magic just signed Hall to a 10-day contract, and he delivered energy on defense. 3 block shots, 7 points, 9 rebounds to go along with James Ennis scoring a season-high 22, going 5 of 6 from three-point range. And what about Wendell Carter Jr. facing his former team? 19 points, 12 rebounds. I hate to say it. I hate to say this, Austin Pastolka, but Dante Hall showed more energy last night than Mo Bamba's ever showed, all right?
Yeah, you are 100% right on that. And at the end of the day, I just want to see an Orlando Magic big man have some energy and do good things to get the Magic wins. The Mo Bamba hype train could very quickly turn into the Dante Hall hype train if you want it to be that way.
Can I get all the particulars right on this? So, wait, Dante Hall was signed to a 10-day contract?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. And we're questioning maybe why this guy's energy level was high. This guy's playing for his next contract.
That's right. Absolutely. His next 10 days.
Yeah, his contract ends in 10 days, by the way. Listen,
well, maybe it won't now.
Well, yeah. Michael Carter Williams, he started on a 10-day contract. Yeah, so listen, that's why no excuse. You got 10 days to play. Mo Bamba's like locked into this rookie contract.
I think everybody should be on 10-day contracts, right? You really want to see a good league? Everybody on 10-day contracts. There'd be no load management.
Everybody just show up to the arena. We'll pick you like it's down at the docks back in the 30s. Hey, I need you. I need you. You look like you can carry something. Come on down. All right. Here's $30. Go play some basketball.
Here's your inspirational quote of the day, Mike. At the end of the day, we're all on 1-day contracts.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. All right. We do have a poll question about the Magic winning last night. Should Magic fans take solace that their team, the Orlando Magic, have a better record than the Bulls since the Vooch trade? Now, albeit the
Yeah,
Magic's
do the math
record,
for him, Mike. Do the math for
Yeah,
him.
the
real fast.
Magic's record's 3-7, and the Bulls' record is 3-8.
Last
all
I
right?
checked, I want winners.
I want winners.
And that's a better winning record, brother.
I was about to say, hold on. They're like just less of losers. They haven't won anymore. But they did beat them.
Hey, less
Yeah.
losers is equivalent to more winners, right?
You wonder what the Bulls, seriously, forget about the Magic for a minute. What are the Bulls feeling like right now? They've lost 4 in a row. Even though Vooch scored 29 last night, Zach LaVine scored 30. That's their 2 All-Stars. They're still 22-32 on the season, and they've lost 4 in a row. Billy Donovan and the Bulls, I mean, they traded for Vooch because they wanted to make a playoff run.
I think what they're finding out is kind of what we knew here is that Vooch, though a great player, isn't a transcendent player, isn't an elevating player. Like there are players in this league that will elevate all the players around him, and to the point where they become extremely competitive. They already had Zach LaVine. They were already this team before Vooch.
Yeah, but did we think Vooch would be a contributor and be a really good number 2, which is essentially what he is?
That's showing that Zach LaVine isn't a good number 1. They now have 2 number 2s and still don't have a number 1.
We may have outed Zach LaVine as a non-number 1. Even though both guys played well, but I not to take this, to compare Vooch or any of these guys to LeBron. When LeBron's on the floor, God, he makes guys that I'll never forget. He made Mo Williams an all-star in the NBA. That's how good is LeBron James? Guys you never heard of before and guys you haven't heard since were NBA all-stars with him on the team. And unfair to compare Vooch to that, but listen, Vooch is just in a new place singing the same old tune.
But the other thing to remember is that the other guys that are in Chicago, like Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen, they had bad games last night. Straight up, they just had bad games. Those are the other guys that they expect to have 15 points a night, and neither guy did that last night. So,
all right, straight ahead. What are we going to get to straight ahead? FSU has a new football facility, standalone. At least they have the artist's renderings of it. We'll get into that next on Open Mic.
Allen has no-hit the Cleveland Indians. The 20th no-hitter in Sox history. What a performance. He's being mobbed on the mound by his teammates. They come rushing from the bullpen. He was also close to a perfect game, but a no-hitter will do.
Chicago White Sox lefty Carlos Rodon with the no-hitter. He was 2 outs away from a perfect game as the White Sox beat the Indians 8-0 last night. So he had a perfect game going into the 9th, all right? But then he hit Roberto Perez in the foot, and that ended his perfect game. Hit him in the foot.
Oh, that's got to be. I'm surprised he was able to get the no-hitter after that.
Well, yeah. But, wow. 2 no-hitters so far this Major League Baseball season. The Padres had one last week, Joe Musgrove. I think that was the first no-hitter in Padres history.
It was.
Last week. So do we get as excited about no-hitters as we used to back in the good old days, Adam Reardon?
It's funny because as you were playing the highlight, I'm thinking to myself, it's the one thing in baseball that I still like, as a casual baseball fan, is a no-hitter.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons. It doesn't happen very often, and whenever you show up to the ballpark, that first inning goes by, up 1, 2, 3, on to the second inning. We've made it through the first 3 innings. You made it through the lineup. Okay, now let's start to see where we're going. To me, that would engage me. And so when you see it, it's great. And then, oh, by the way, if you're at the game, that probably means the game's going to go by pretty quick, okay? You're not going to be like one of these 4-hour games like, it's 10-7 here in the bottom of the 6th. And you're sitting there going like, oh, my God, I wanted to take my kid to the ballpark, but he's not going to make it to school tomorrow. This is ridiculous.
What was more impressive, the no-hitter yesterday by Rodon or play the Luka Doncic last-second shot from last night?
Doncic comes and gets it. Got a bounce and will fling it on up. And he hit it! He hit it to put the game in overtime! He was crouching when he let it go!
Maybe a 3. Was he behind the line?
I don't know if he was behind the line. I'm not sure.
He was.
That.
He was.
They're going to check. The Maverick bench exploding. Tim Hardaway's putting up 3 fingers to see if it's a 3-pointer. He did. He did go behind the line. He just won the game. Luka just won the game with an incredible shot as he split the double team of Brooks and Valanciunas and leaning in to score.
Gator grad Chuck Cooperstein on the call. Didn't get it right at first, but he got it right after that. That was if you haven't seen the highlight, go back and look at it. The guy's off balance. He's stumbling. He splits a pair of Memphis defenders and catches the inbound pass, and boom, takes a running 3-pointer and swishes it through for the win. And by the way, Grayson Allen, all right? Grayson Allen of the Grizzlies. He's like a 91% free throw shooter, all right? He's at the line right before Luka Doncic hits that shot. He's at the line for the Grizzlies. If he hits both of them, game over, all right? Game over. If he hits one of them, Luka Doncic's shot would have been for the tie. He misses both of them, a 91% free throw shooter, Grayson Allen. So, yeah.
That 9% must have been in the clutch.
You know what's the most impressive thing about that shot is that if you normally shoot a basketball, you kind of follow through and snap your wrists a little bit. Had he had done like a normal shot where, he kind of pushes and then snaps the wrist a little bit, it would have been on his fingertips when that thing hit 0. He sort of shot-putted it in a way where he's shooting it and he pulls his hand back. No way for him in real time to be watching the clock. But just that sort of instinct to go, I got to get this out of my hand as fast as possible. I can't even do a real-life kind of follow-through floater-type shot is what made that shot go in and be off his fingertips in time. They showed it on before the show started on ESPN. And I was watching it and I go, this is a guy who was so aware about how little time, because he had to take a dribble. He caught the ball going away from the hoop, took a dribble. I thought to myself, I go, man, they got to go back and review this because there's no way he got that off in time for him to catch it going away from the hoop, turn, dribble, fall forward, shoot the basketball all in 1.8 seconds. I said, that's impossible. But it was possible because that guy basically shot-putted it and never followed through. It was amazing to me. It was such an amazing shot from a guy who's given us some pretty amazing shots already in his young career.
That's why they're already calling him Luka Legend in Dallas. Luka Legend. So, anyway, incredible shot. All right, spontaneous text question of the day.
Oh, there it is.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
Okay, typically today is National Tax Day because this is the day typically where your income tax is due, but I think they've extended it, have they not?
Ooh,
into May 17th.
Thank you.
Yeah, they've extended it into May.
I rushed and did mine yesterday. I was like, oh, God, and then as I was turning it in, I was like, oh, we extended it this year.
Yeah. So anyway, it's National Tax Day. Here's the spontaneous text question. Things you should get tax write-offs for, but you don't. All right. It could be, it could be something funny. It could be anything. I have a serious one. All right. So my daughters, who are of adult age now, they're still on or at least one of my daughters is on my medical plan. All right. So I have to pay. I pay for her medical plan. All right. Even though she's an adult. All right? Mm-hmm. I think you can do that until they're 26, I think.
Yep.
So I think I should be able to deduct that because it costs me a lot of extra money to have an extra person on my medical plan.
That sounds like she's dependent, Mike.
No, she's not, though.
I don't know. You should claim that.
You might need to have a conversation with Mike, with your daughter. Hey. Listen.
Maybe I should do that then. All right. Anyway.
I'm going to claim you instead of you claiming you this year because I got to pay your health insurance. All right? The government doesn't let me deduct it from them, so I'm deducting it from you now.
That's right.
Yeah, good point. All right, text those in 50857. You guys have any ideas?
Absolutely. I should be able to deduct all the alcohol I drink from the stress of the morning show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be able to deduct every single 6-pack of Bud Light that I go through a night. I mean a week.
All right, text in 50857 things you should be able to deduct on your tax forms that you're not able to. All right. Right around the corner, the city of Buffalo says if you want to attend a Buffalo Bills football game this fall, you better have proof that you've been vaccinated for COVID. Should Orlando and other municipalities follow suit? That's next on Open Mic.
Absence makes the
roll. What's the name of this knockoff of Call Me the Breeze?
The Cool Breeze.
The Cool Breeze. All right, I've amended our spontaneous text question. I'm amending it to say things in sports that you should be able to write off of your taxes. All right? Somebody just texted in, magic ticket purchases should be considered a charitable donation.
Yes.
How about youth sports costs nowadays? I mean, listen, if your kids are playing sports nowadays, you know how expensive that can be. And it doesn't even matter what sport anymore. Lacrosse, volleyball, soccer. I mean, you're in the 4 to 5 digit range. All the travel that's involved. When you start adding up hotel costs, write it off.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. Keep those coming in. 50857. All right. The city of Buffalo, specifically the county, Erie County, all right, up where Buffalo is located. If you want to attend a Buffalo Bills football game or a Buffalo Sabres hockey game coming up, you're going to have to show proof that you've been vaccinated against COVID-19. If you want to attend the game, you have to have some sort of digital proof on your cell phone or whatever that you have been vaccinated. Here's Erie County Chief Executive Mark Poloncarz talking about it.
Now people are like, we have an opportunity to protect ourselves against the greatest viral killer we've seen in 100 years. And people are like, I'm not going to do it. And you can't prevent me from going to a football game. Well, we want to ensure the safety of our public. You have no guaranteed right in the Constitution to inflict illness on other people, just like you have no guaranteed right in the Constitution to attend a Buffalo Bills football game. It's a license when you buy a ticket. It's granted. You can be removed at any time. Our goal is to ensure that everyone in there is safe.
Boom. Boom. Wow. You have no God-given right to attend a football game. This is according to the Erie County Chief Executive, Mark Poloncarz. That's created quite the stir up in Buffalo. Again, ticket holders entering a Buffalo Bills game, all right, or a Buffalo Sabres game. I think when this fall arrives, when the stadiums are going to hopefully be at full capacity, I don't think it's taking effect in socially distanced settings. Can you Google that, Austin? I don't know that it's taken effect yet. All right, I don't know that it's taken effect at Buffalo Sabres games yet, but it's going to take effect this fall. And again, you're going to have to show digital proof of that you've been fully vaccinated if you want to attend a football game, which brings us to our thought-provoking daily poll. And that is, let me see if I have it here while Austin Googles that other information. Do you think all municipalities should be like Buffalo and require football fans to be vaccinated against COVID if they want to attend games in the fall? I'm not just talking about pro fans. I'm talking about, should Gainesville require it up in Scott Strickland, the Gator AD, said yesterday they expect full capacity in the fall. In Tallahassee, should they do it? In Orlando at Magic games, when they get to full capacity, Orlando City games, should fans be required to be vaccinated? That is the thought-provoking daily poll. I'll take it a step further, all right? I think fans, athletes, and coaches should be required to be vaccinated. Like all this talk in the NFL about, they're worried about COVID, and that's why they don't want to attend off-season workouts. Get vaccinated then. Everybody get vaccinated. Then you don't have to worry about it, right? Am I right or wrong? Wouldn't that alleviate the COVID concerns in the NFL if everybody was vaccinated?
I mean, I don't know about alleviate completely, but, I can't remember the last time we were all worried about getting polio. You know what I mean? Because we've all been vaccinated, okay? And I know that, that comparison's a little bit weak because we had many, many years to develop the polio vaccine, and COVID is just so recent. But I will say this, that as far as the government stepping in and doing it is one thing, but I would be interested to know if there are teams who say, listen, we'd love to get to full capacity. I own this team. And so what I'm going to do to make it safe enough for us to have full capacity is require it so that I can get everybody in the building, get that cash flow working again.
It's a business.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a business.
Cruise lines are implementing this, saying, hey, listen, if you're going to get on one of our cruise ships, you're going to have to be vaccinated because we want to fill our cruise ships back up. We've been out of the water for a year and a half now. We've lost a ton of money. Maybe no industry was hit harder than cruise ships were.
Right.
And
because that's essentially where it started. Remember, the cruise ship had to stay out in the ocean? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're doing it. I wouldn't be shocked if to get a flight, there's going to be certain airlines that say, listen, we're only going to be flying people who have been vaccinated. And that's their choice. As a business, that's their choice. So I'd be interested to know if schools or professional teams are going to take the onus upon themselves, or are they going to wait for local government? Because we know that certain local governments are different. Not only is in Buffalo County or in the county up Erie County up in Buffalo, are they probably a lot more liberal thinking? And then down here, it probably certainly wouldn't happen in the state of Florida or in Texas.
I don't know that Governor Ron DeSantis would allow. I think he might overrule local government. He might have already done. I think he's already tried to overrule local governments and say they can't require certain things when it comes to COVID. Here's a question for you guys. What do you think would keep more fans away from sporting events, all right? Those fans who don't want to be vaccinated, or those fans who don't want to go to an event if everybody hasn't been vaccinated?
The second one, in my opinion. The second one is the one that's going to keep more people away. Right. I think that most people in this country are fine with the vaccine and are it's the very loud minority that have a problem with it, and they're the ones that are going to cause the most problems for people.
So I'm on the flip side. I think now I would much rather go to a stadium myself that has everybody vaccinated, but I think that if people don't want to get vaccinated and you have been vaccinated, you're thinking, well, even if this guy, may have it, I've been vaccinated, so I really don't have to worry that much about it. So I suspect that I think here's the thing. Either way, you got a 20,000 seat, basketball stadium, you're going to fill it one way or the other once you open it up. If you can open it up. And now if opening it up is going to require some special precautions. Now, the scary part about going into where people aren't vaccinated is the two guys who are sitting next to each other who aren't vaccinated, and one of them has it and gives it to the next guy, and then we continue this proliferation of this epidemic and then or the pandemic. That's the problem with it. But I as far as people who don't want to get it, they won't go to games. But I think if you have a 40,000, 20,000, now if you get in the 100, could you fill a 100,000 seat stadium in? Gainesville's 95,000. Could you put 95,000 people who can pay, who are willing to pay, who have all been vaccinated in the swamp? Could you even sell that out? Heck, they couldn't sell it out.
Yeah, I don't know that you're going to be able to. I don't know if you're going to be able to sell out these stadiums anyway. Vaccine or no vaccine. I've told you my thoughts on that. Anyway, we'll get into this topic. We want to know what you guys think. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. Shoot us a text, 50857. Go to Twitter at 969thegame and vote on our thought-provoking daily poll and all of our other polls as well. Straight ahead, Florida lawmakers caused loads of controversy yesterday. They voted to ban female transgender high school and college athletes from participating in sports. What do you think about that? That's next on Open Mic.
What does Mike Bianchi FM, HD. Online at 969thegame.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app. And on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
Don't forget your first chance to win $1,000 coming up 7:10 a.m. this morning, and then on the 10s throughout the day. 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m., and on and on and on. Just listen for the keyword, and when you hear it, head to our website, 969thegame.com, and enter that word, all right? Enter that word on our website. It's that easy. 7:10 a.m. again this morning is your first chance, presented by International Diamond Center. All right, Austin, you have some knowledge for us that you looked up during the break?
Yeah, so Sabres games, there are only 2 Sabre games remaining on the season that are welcoming fans. And so you either need a proof of vaccine or a negative COVID test to get entry into those games.
Okay, all right. But then in the fall, once I guess there's a certain date, that's when you're going to have to be required to have had a COVID test before you can get into a Buffalo Bills game or a Buffalo. Yeah, what did I say?
Test.
Yeah, COVID vaccine before you can get into a Buffalo Bills football game or a Buffalo Sabres hockey game. And that is the thought-provoking daily poll question. Do you think all municipalities should be like Buffalo and require football fans? We're just concentrating on football because that's what we care about the most. And require football fans to be vaccinated against COVID-19 if they want to attend games in the fall. But obviously it would also mean Orlando Magic games, whatever. Do you think fans should be required to have a vaccine? I think fans and players should be required, and coaches should be required to have vaccines. Why should the Buffalo Bills fans be required to have vaccines, but the players not? Anyone want to answer that question? Anybody have a good answer for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that coaches should all be vaccinated so that Mike never has to have that awkward moment again where he asks the coach, have you been vaccinated? Of course you have, because all coaches have to be vaccinated. Clearly.
Good point. Good point. All right. Another controversial topic came up in the state of Florida yesterday. The Florida House voted yesterday to ban transgender females, not males, transgender females from playing girls or women's school sports. We're talking about high school sports and college sports in the state of Florida. It's part of a national push by many conservatives that could mean the NCAA championships aren't held in the state of Florida. Lawmakers who voted for the, quote, Fairness in Women's Sports Act said it is needed to protect female athletes who could be denied athletic opportunities if they had to compete against transgender students who were born male. I'm reading from an AP story right now, but they conceded there are no documented problems in Florida, and a similar bill passed in Idaho quickly landed in court where the federal judge ruled the state could not ban transgender females from female sports teams. Idaho's law is now on hold during appeals, but similar bills have been passed in several other states, and they have been introduced in more than 25, including the state of Florida, which again, the Florida House voted to pass yesterday. Now it goes to the Senate, and all eyes will be on the Florida Senate. Of course, if the Florida Senate passes it, that means it becomes law. Or actually, I think they send it to Governor Ron DeSantis, and then it becomes law. Again, the bill was sponsored by Florida Republicans. It passed 77-40. In fairness, some Democrats, not many, but some Democrats in the House voted for the law as well. We have a TV news report from Tallahassee that sort of explains it with both sides. Here it is.
We recognize that there are some physiological differences in strength.
State Senator Kelly Stargel is sponsoring a bill in the state Senate.
We want to have women to have an advantage and be able to participate within their own network of strength and safety.
But Democratic Representative Anna Eskamani sees the efforts as discriminatory. Are these bills an attack on trans kids?
The fact that we're handpicking cases that have become sensational in the right-wing media to draw this dynamic of anti-trans rhetoric is really dangerous to equity across the country.
Okay, there you have it. Both sides. We have a poll on this as well. You can go vote at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Again, I'm reading from the Associated Press story. Opponents of the bill said Florida's proposal is a bigoted and unnecessary effort to target transgender students who are already often marginalized. They noted that the Florida High School Athletic Association and the NCAA already have adopted policies that provide ways for transgender athletes to play on high school and college teams, and say there have been no disputes in Florida. The FHSAA, which is the high school governing body in the state, requires documentation of, quote, consistent identity and expression and medical information as part of its process to clear transgender students to play on school sports teams. The NCAA allows transgender women to compete on women's teams after a year of hormone therapy. All right. The NCAA on Monday said its policy, which requires testosterone suppression for transgender women who compete on women's teams. So essentially testosterone is the big deal that makes men physically stronger than women. So you have to suppress your testosterone according to NCAA rules. Here's my take on this. All right. All right, well, you know how we always hear people, and I'm among those, I'll admit that. You always hear people, I don't want athletes or sports to get political. We always hear that. How about this? How about let's not have our politicians getting involved in sports, all right? How about twist it around? If you don't want your athletes to be involved in politics, how about keeping the politicians out of athletics, all right? Because, again, there's no disputes in the state of Florida. This isn't even an issue in the state of Florida. So why did our politicians have to get involved? All right. If it becomes an issue and you want to vote on a law, okay. But these sports leagues have already taken care of it. The FHSAA, they have taken care of it. The NCAA, they have taken care of it. Why do we have to have our politicians involved in sports? If we don't want our athletes involved in politics, why do we have to have our politicians involved in athletics? That's my stance. This bill/law wasn't needed in the state of Florida. So why are we creating a controversy where there doesn't have to be any? My stance.
The interesting thing to me is I'm listening to all this and I'm going, man, we've elected a lot of people and pay a lot of people a lot of tax dollars to go solve problems that don't exist. You
right,
know?
and not solve problems that do exist.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Mike, there is no issue here. There is no problem. In the state of Florida, and then the NCAA have even said, listen, you guys, this isn't just Billy's a decent men's basketball player, but he wants to go to college. So what he's going to do is pretend to be a transgendered athlete and go get a women's scholarship to Tennessee or UConn.
Right.
Yeah, this is not like that storyline is so false, so dangerous, so stupid that but people are running with it. That Billy's just going to, because he can't compete against the guys, he's going to pretend that he wants to become a woman so he can compete against women. It is so wrong. It is so wrong. It doesn't exist. It is a boogeyman that does not exist, and it is.
Well, I mean, there are rare cases throughout the country where I think I remember Austin. I think it was a high school wrestler. Anyway, there are rare cases of it, but again, not in our state.
Well, but I'm saying that there's a high school wrestler that just pretended to be, or is actually transgendered and did compete against people.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that it's an actual thing. But again, and I don't know about in Texas, but with the hormone suppression, with the testosterone, they're trying to level that playing field. So it isn't just guy leaves the football gym one day and goes, I think I'm going to go try out for women's basketball, and then
this isn't the South Park episode where Macho Man Randy Savage is going strong woman.
Yeah,
it's not that.
So again, for me, it's more about a problem that never really, and I coach high school soccer. Not once have I had to deal with this issue that, a boy didn't, is on the JV team, and he comes over to me and goes, hey, I really want to play varsity soccer. You mind if I play with the girls? I don't have that issue.
Okay, I've made my stance clear on this, all right? I agree. There doesn't need to be a law because it's not an issue, all right, in our state, all right? But let me play devil's advocate for a minute, all right? Let me put on another hat, all right? Let me put on the hat of a dad of 2 daughters, all right? And say, my daughter, and again, my daughters were never good enough to win state championships, all right, in soccer or whatever, all right. But say my daughter ran track, all right. She was a sprinter, all right, and she ran the 100 meters, all right, and she was in the state finals, all right, and a transgender athlete who used to be a male, all right, he just blows my daughter away in the 100-meter finals. Would you feel a little different about it then? Adam Reardon, you have daughters?
Yeah, I have daughters. And again, I think that the parameters that have been put in place, this is not a guy who just left the men's track team.
He's had the hormone therapy.
So it falls into the same parameters, the testosterone levels and estrogen levels that my daughter has, and that athlete beats my daughter, then the better athlete won that day. The better athlete won that day. Again, if it was a guy who just shows up and says, I keep finishing third in the men's races, I'm going to go over here, and then blows my daughter away, now I've got some questions. At that point, we're just having an open competition, boys and girls. But after a year of hormone therapy and stuff, that athlete comes over and beats my daughter with the same sort of levels in testosterone and estrogen, then we got to get back to training. Taryn, Rylan, we got to get out there and train. That's what we got to do. We got to be better.
Let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando. Facebook.com/969 The Game.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet this morning. We start off on YouTube's trending page where, guys, do you know how many Fast and Furious movies there are?
Will this be 9?
This will be 9. Trailer number 2 for F9, Fast and the Furious 9.
Amazing.
It came out yesterday. 3.5 long trailer has racked up just under 3 million views. Why are people still excited for Fast and the Furious after, 10?
Good movies.
I mean, they're movies.
Good movies.
Well, they keep coming out with, Star Wars.
I don't understand why they keep coming out with more Star Wars either.
There's a Marvel movie every week popping up.
Those are different stories.
Oh, different stories.
Those are different stories, and you know it.
Justice League is different.
Sort of like chain restaurants. There's a reason they become chains, because they're good.
I can say that I've never seen a Fast and the Furious. I don't think I've...
not even Tokyo Drift?
No.
Come on.
Probably not especially Tokyo Drift, okay? I probably avoided that one more than any. I don't even drift. So I've never seen any of them, but they've got 9, and listen, billions of people can't be wrong. They must be great. I must be missing out.
Happy birthday today to comedian, actor extraordinaire from the movies Knocked Up, Neighbors, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. It's Seth Rogen. Hello, Mike, are you there?
I am going to say Seth Rogen. By the way, Joe Rogan's coming to Orlando. Did you see that?
I saw it when I drove past the Amway.
He's funny.
He's a very smart guy too. His podcast is strong.
The number one podcast in the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Seth Rogen is... I'm not going to go 43 today. I'm going to go 41.
Do you not know who Seth Rogen is?
Yeah, I know.
Wait, is Seth Rogen under 40 years old? I feel like he's 40.
He's 39 years old.
Okay, so yes. I guess you were right.
Yeah. Trending across social media today is the fact that the grocery chain Kroger is trying to...
The old Kroger's up north, up in Pittsburgh. That's where they shop.
They are trying to compete with Amazon and Walmart. And how they are doing it is they have amassed a, quote, robot army. They are betting on automated warehouses run by robots the size of dishwashers to catch up in online grocery shopping. They believe that if they are able to automate it, they're able to save money. They're able to then compete with the Amazons and Walmarts of the world. How do you guys feel about robots delivering your groceries? I don't know, they're not delivering them, but, if that were the case.
I mean, that's where we're headed in this country as far as the labor force, for crying out loud, with all the robotics going on and AI and artificial intelligence. I mean, good Lord, this is just the beginning of it. Yeah, I think
I'm all for it. Yeah.
I think it's inevitable.
And finally, trending over on Reddit from the trashy subreddit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trashy.
So this is a note that was left on someone's door. It was, "Dear neighbors in 9S, girl, do everyone a favor and dump him. We don't need to be woken up one more time at 2 a.m. because he can't be an adult and hold his together. Not one more time woken up by slamming doors, stomping feet, and the worst part, hearing his whiny voice yell, 'What the?' You were right to hit him with an ironing board 2 years ago. Your new dog deserves better. Just break up already. Please allow us to go at least 1 month without being woken up in the middle of the night. Thank you." So there you go. Notes on doors. Just break up with him.
Good way to do it.
I had
better than calling the cops.
At one point, my Twitter not profile picture, but what's the other one called?
The banner.
The banner picture was this picture I found online of like a guy who left his neighbor $50, and he says, "Man, I happened to overhear the breakup the other night, and I know that you've been down. Here's $50. Go to the local strip club and have a nice evening on me." The guy left his neighbor $50 because his girlfriend broke up with him and told him to go to the local ballet.
Wow.
Goodness.
Wow. Whoa. All right, give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can text us, 50857. We just got a text. Mike is right. These politicians have found a solution that needs a problem. Yeah.
It's a good way of putting it.
By the way, Adam Reardon, you and your stock tips, all right?
Oh, no.
So, remember,
you got to hold, Mike. You got to hold.
Hold the line.
Stock?
Diamond hands.
Stock. This has been a few weeks ago. There was some stock. I think it was ITRM.
Yeah, you got to hold.
Okay, so but I actually, I sold it a while back, but then I saw the other day it was down to like 122 or something, and I bought it again at 122, and now it's still going down. It's down to like 114, and what the hell's going on with this
Mike,
thing?
it's a pharmaceutical stock. They actually had their FDA approval delayed, so that caused people to go, okay, well, let me move my money somewhere else. I'll come back to it. So you just got to hold that one. Just hold it. If they once they get approval, you'll be rewarded.
It'll be good.
Listen, I'm holding one right now that shot up like 2 days. Austin may remember. Remember I showed it to you. I bought it 2 days, and then 2 days later it shot up like a ton, and I'm like, oh man, there's people that think this is going to $10 and $12, and so I'm not going to sell it at $7, even though I bought it at like $4, and so I held it, and right now it is down to like $3.70. But I fully believe it. It's actually connected to the NFL Hall of Fame. It's the NFL Hall of Fame Village that they're building up in Canton, Ohio. And they're about to legalize sports betting. They got a vote coming up this month to legalize sports betting in Ohio. And this place will have a little sports book in it. So that's going to be good for me as well.
Did you guys hear about Dogecoin?
Dogecoin got to like what, 12 cents yesterday?
It's at 12 cents. I was buying it when it was a penny.
I bought Dogecoin back when it was. I bought like. I'm scared to say this out loud, but I bought a ton of it back when it was like less than a tenth of a cent a piece. I just was like, it was my first. I think it was my first ever. No, I didn't keep it, Mike,
No.
because I bought like $50 worth, right, and it was like worth like less than a cent, like a tenth of a cent a piece. Had I had held it. You're like times 10 times 12 now. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there.
You have like $5,000.
Yeah. I'd have like 1,000 on my $50 investment from like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh well.
But like you're sitting there watching this Dogecoin and you're going like, it's a picture of a dog. There's no way. And then Elon Musk for some reason gets bored in the morning and tweets a picture of a dog and everybody goes nuts.
Yeah, it's Dogecoin.
Buy it. Austin, did you ever find a highlight or a low light from the Orlando Pride last night?
I did.
Yeah.
Oof.
Play the low light.
Anamano running onto it for Gotham FC into the box, wide open, and a goal is scored by Monahan.
What the hell is going on with the Orlando Pride, Adam Reardon? You coach girls soccer in high school. Again, the Orlando Pride have all sorts of star power on their roster, but they've never been able to do anything, all right, as far as on the pitch I'm talking about. In the community, they're great, but last night, again, 79th minute, they cede a late goal. They lose 1-0 to Gotham FC. This comes on the heels of last week in their opener against Racing Louisville. They were ahead. They were winning 3 minutes in the stoppage time, and they cede a goal, and they end up with a draw in that game. What's going on with the Orlando Pride?
Well, I remember a couple of years ago, this is what what Orlando City was doing. They would give up these late goals to either lose games or relinquish a win, and then drop points. And it's very, very frustrating. Now, I'm trying to look up the roster of who played last night because I know that Alex Morgan was away, and and I don't know Sidney LaRue's situation. I don't know who played last night for the Pride. So the question is, what roster did they have out there at the time? But regardless of that. This game being played in Gotham, I need Batman to come in and keep Orlando Pride from getting robbed, okay? All right? There was a crime that happened last night. Well, the Orlando Pride were robbed of a point. Where is Batman when we need him? In Gotham.
Right there in Gotham City. Yeah. So, anyway, the Orlando Pride, another disappointing result for them last night. Straight ahead, we have the sound off coming your way, but first we have your chance to win $1,000.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide
That is the Sound Off, brought to you by UCF Baseball. Friday coverage of UCF versus USF. That's right here on FM 96.9. The game coverage starting at 2 p.m. What do we have?
Sound Off. Sound Off. I can't tell you how many $1,000 I've lost to him on half-court shots. One time in Mexico City, our second year, I paid him off in pesos because I was so pissed about it. And I don't bet with him anymore because I've seen him do everything. I've seen him call swishes from half court. I've seen him kick the ball in from 40 feet. Anytime we walk into practice and he's sitting on a table getting stretched out behind a basket and says, "Hey, coach, if I make a shot, it's practice over." And I'm always like, "Forget it, no way."
That's Rick Carlisle, head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, talking about Luka Doncic, saying, "Listen, I don't make bets with this man anymore." Is Luka Doncic truly a legend already in his young career, Mike?
Yes, he's Luka legend. Play the clip of the shot last night. The off-balance, stumbling three-pointer that he hit to give the Mavericks the victory over the Grizzlies. Do you have that clip?
Doncic comes and gets it. Got a bounce and will fling it on up. And he hit it! He hit it to put the game in overtime!
Unbelievable. He didn't put the game in the overtime, all right? That was Chuck Cooperstein on the call. It was actually a three-pointer. They went back and looked, and it was a three-pointer, and it gave them the win last night. It was an incredible shot. It was an off-balance, stumbling shot with 1.8 seconds left. As Adam Reardon said earlier, he didn't even have time to go up for the traditional jump shot. He just had the shot put the ball from beyond the three-point line, and he swishes it. The guy's unbelievable. He's already made a handful of those game-winning shots, and he's only been in the league, a couple of years. Unbelievable.
Sound off. Sound off.
And he hits a pair.
Don't know if you can hear that, but they're chanting, "KD sucks." Kevin Durant has been in a bunch of headlines for his Twitter shenanigans and has been an all-around villain for a while since his time in Golden State. My question to you, Adam Reardon, is do you think that he will be remembered for the great basketball player that he is, or will he be remembered as the ultimate villain of the NBA?
He got this villain tag because he left Oklahoma City to join a team that was already very, very good. Yeah. And he's been sensitive. By the way, B-Ball fan 4932 recently tweeted out that was pretty rude of fans to be so harsh to Kevin Durant. And
why were they chanting "KD sucks"? I realized they were playing the Nets, but wasn't Joel Embiid at the foul line? What did that have to do with anything?
I don't know. I think they just needed a reason.
A quiet moment in the evening, and probably some group of fans that were heckling KD, and KD maybe said something back, and so this has been something that went on the whole night. Wouldn't shock me, but he's a sensitive guy, clearly.
Yeah.
It's really just kind of wild how that guy will engage with anybody who is, in somewhat critical of him. He's done it to normal people. This guy's engaged with normal people, not just the Michael Rappaports and the Shannon Sharps of the world. The Adam Reardons of the world. If I tweet something out bad about Kevin Durant, there is a chance, sort of like finding a prize inside your cereal box when you're a kid. Tweet something negative about KD and see if he responds back in your DMs.
Of course he will.
Sound off. Sound off.
When you have someone that intentionally comes out and writes something slanted, I'm all for a clickbait headline. I get the benefit of that and all that stuff, but when you're going to sit there and write an article and not even go and understand the rule or intentionally ignore the fact that you know the rule just so you can, intentionally pile on someone for nothing. That's such a joke of an article. It's such a, someone who calls himself a journalist.
So that's Trevor Bauer absolutely slamming, I believe it is
Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah. after an article came out about Trevor Bauer using doctored baseballs, and which has come out to be false, I believe. I'm looking at the story right now.
Here's what happened.
Give it to me.
So Ken Rosenthal reported that Major League Baseball was taking a look at some of Trevor Bauer's baseballs that he'd pitched because they thought that they may be doctored. All right. And Trevor Bauer saying, no, that's not it at all. Major League Baseball is taking a look at a bunch of different baseballs because they're doing some sort of study on the baseballs. And Kim Rosenthal came back and said, no, they're really taking a look at yours because they think they're doctored. So there's a dispute here. And Ken Rosenthal is standing by his story, and Trevor Bauer is saying, well, why didn't you say that Major League Baseball is taking a look at a bunch of baseballs, not just mine? So that's the dispute. It's who you believe. It's who you believe. I think Ken Rosenthal probably in his original story should have said that Major League Baseball was taking a look at a bunch of different baseballs, not just Trevor Bauer. So I'm going to side. Usually I side with the media here, but I think Ken Rosenthal should have originally given the whole story, not just part of it.
If I were a pitcher, I mean, there'd be no greater compliment to my stuff than the Major League Baseball wanting to take a look at the. This guy's so filthy out there. He must be cheating.
Another 3-2. Ground ball to third. Moncada up with it. Throw to first. It's a no-hitter. Carlos Rodon.
So that's Carlos Rodon's final pitch where he completed a no-hitter. He was very close to a perfect game. Does that take any shine? The fact that he hit a batter, obviously it's not a perfect game, so there's less shine on it. But does that take away from the no-hitter part of his accomplishment?
No way. I mean, because it was him that cost himself the perfect game.
It was him that cost him the perfect game, and it was so close to being a perfect game.
But like, so I can deal with that. What would really stink is if you're the pitcher and you're pitching a perfect game and some idiot, at first base bobbles the ball and has the error. That to me is way worse because you're like, dude, this guy was pitching a perfect game and that dummy over there, couldn't field a slow grounder. At least this is like, hey, you hit the guy. So I mean,
the ump should have let it slide. He just hit him in the shoe, hit him in the foot.
Oh, that would have been way more controversial.
Hit him in the foot, for crying out loud. It wasn't like he hit him in the ribs or the ear hole.
Shame on that batter for not getting his foot out of the way.
Absolutely.
Well enough. I mean,
he leaned probably tried to put his foot. He just stuck his foot out there to get a hit.
Compete, my man, compete.
That's sound off for today.
All right, right around the corner. What do we got right around the corner? Let me see. What haven't we talked about yet? We haven't talked about FSU. They have a new football standalone facility. Did you hear about this? Oh, that's right. It's only the drawings. That's next on Open Mic.
More Open Mic up next.
Cowardly, gutless, and wrong. After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control.
Looking for a job in the city. What is this Proud Mary knockoff song called?
Proud Larry.
Proud Larry.
It is called Mrs. Hippie Streamer.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, we have to play generic music because we are on a video stream. And if you're on YouTube, by the way, you can watch us on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search for the Open Mic live stream, and you can see us live and in color. But you have to play generic music. Otherwise, what do? They kick you off? Is that what they do, Adam?
If you're like a habitual offender, they'll kick you off. I think they end up muting your broadcast, or they'll keep it out of certain countries that have copyright infringement laws and stuff like that. So if we use like when we were using Christmas music back during the holiday season, our broadcast would be banned in countries that don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah. What about when you sing? Austin, can you play the beginning of that song again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, play the beginning of that song. Looking for a job in the city. Searching for the print every night and day. So if I'm singing, does it kick us off?
I think you have to know the words in order for them to register that it's the same.
Mary, keep on turning.
I think the fact that
Big
you
wheels
butchered the
keep on
lyrics,
turning.
you were so off key and out of tune that it won't register. I
didn't sound like Ike and Tina Turner there.
No, you sound. You sort of sounded like Mick Jagger mixed with something else.
Big wheel keep on turning. Proud Mary keep on boining. Yeah.
Boining.
Rolling.
It's boining. How do you spell that? Boyinn.
That's how creative screw. That's how they say it. They say boining. They don't say burning. They say boining. All right. So Florida State yesterday unveiled new artistic renderings for a long anticipated glitzy standalone football facility that will bring the Seminoles in line with the top programs across the country. As rival, I'm reading from the Andrea Adelson story at ESPN.com. As rival Clemson gained headlines for its state-of-the-art facility, Miami built its own facility for the first time, and Florida unveiled plans in its broken grounds for its standalone facility. Florida State started to fall further behind. The Seminoles have never had their own standalone football facility and share their current space with not only other sports, but also student classrooms. That's the Moore Center up in Tallahassee. I remember when that opened. I'm so old. I remember when that opened, and it was considered state of the art. All right. So anyway, this planned 150,000 square foot facility includes all sorts of stuff. Rooms featuring cryotherapy, hyperbolic chambers, a high altitude room, all of the recruiting lounge, suites, all sorts of bells and whistles. All right. So I'm reading this story, and I'm saying, So they're getting ready to build this thing, all right? And then I'm reading further in the story, and it doesn't have any target date for when this thing's going to be built, all right? It says, in 2018, Florida State and Seminole Boosters unveiled a campaign to raise $100 million for a new football facility, scholarship endowments, blah, 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 all right? So Florida State recently reached the $100 million pledge goal with over $43 million raised for the football facility. So they've raised $43 million for the football facility, all right? But the football facility is supposed to cost where is it? I think the football facility is supposed to cost $100 million, all right? So there's still more than, there's still $57 million short by my math, right?
It would be.
Yeah. So, and again, there's no target date here. If you'll remember, back in 2016, Jimbo Fisher was pushing. Remember, he was pushing for a new standalone football facility. Says Clemson has passed us by. We need to build this. And Florida State said, yeah, we're going to sort of drag their feet. We got other things to spend our money on. And that's when Jimbo got mad and, started looking elsewhere, I believe. So, again, obviously, if Florida State had done this, 5 years ago, they might still have Jimbo Fisher, and they would have saved all the money on the Willie Taggart buyout. Hell, they'd probably have enough by now, right? If they'd have committed 5 years ago to do this, but they didn't, of course, and now they're doing it. So, but do you think this thing is imminent, or do you think this is a pipe dream?
It's funny because we've talked so long about like the Willie Taggart deal and how they had to felt like they had to scramble to pull out the what they end up paying him, like $17 million,
21
million, right? We're talking about $100 million, okay? And if they had to scramble to get the $21 million to get Willie out of town, and then now bring in Mike Norvell, I mean, whatever they're going to pay him. My first thought is when you're reading all this, you remember the movie Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
And they created the fake Rock Ridge town where they just built like these places that looked like a building, but it really wasn't. It was like basically a Hollywood set when when the Marauders were coming into town. My first thought is like, that's essentially what they're doing here right now, is like to pacify the fan base and like, hey, everything's fine here. Look at what we're building here. It's like the fake Rock Ridge set from Blazing Saddles. I don't think this is imminent. Are they planning on doing it? Sure. But this has been something that's been discussed since, you're right, 3 head coaches ago. And we're just now getting to the, hey, here's an artist's rendering of what it could look like. Clemson will have gone back and renovated its facilities before Florida State has its built. I'll go out on that limb at the end of the day.
Hey, Austin, Google how much this new facility is supposed to cost. I said $100 million, but I'm not seeing that anywhere now. They were trying to raise $100 million for all the projects, and they've raised $43 million for this new facility, but the new facility is going to cost more than $43 million. So I'm wondering, how much the facility is projected to cost.
So
right?
This is from 2018, which is the same plan, right?
No.
Okay, never mind.
2018, they had a $60 million plan.
Right.
Yeah, because Clemson's way back when was like $55 million, and it was like people were like, "What, $55 million?" So you imagine the price of these standalone facilities with their barber shops and their nightclubs in them or whatever. I mean, it's going to be in that range now.
In none of the stories that I see, whether it's ESPN.com, I went to WarChan, Tallahassee Democrat, I'm not seeing when the groundbreaking is supposed to be. Like, that's when you know that something is about to be built, when they actually start building it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just curious how far Florida State is away from this. And again, the artist...
This, from Tomahawk Nation, it says that they plan on meeting the redevelopment goals beginning with the 2024 season, is what I'm seeing. Is that so they are expected to have enough money by the 2024 season to then move forward with.
So they must have, and I'm trying to piece this all together from all these different. I wonder if they've got commitments to reach that level that you're talking about. Yeah,
pledge. Yeah. Yes, they have $100 million pledged.
Pledge, right? So basically, the money they have right now, they're counting it at that future money. Like, I'm a booster today, and I'm paying $50,000 today in 2022. They're extrapolating that number, going, okay, well, he'll still be paying in 2022, 2023, and
better hope there's not another pandemic.
Yeah.
There's another pandemic. Yeah, it's going to be pushed back about 5 more years.
Yeah, because I think that's probably why you don't have a price tag on this, because when they're ready to build this thing, you're going to have to factor in the cost of the materials at that time. You can't put a price tag on it today and then go to start to build it 3 years from now, and the cost of goods has gone up.
You know who'll know the answer to this?
Mark Daniels.
It's the one and only Mark Daniels.
Mark Daniels will know. We'll just ask him. We'll ask him what the price tag is. He'll know. We'll ask him at 8:30 when the bridge starts. Right around the corner, though, I want to get back into this state of Florida. The House of Representatives voted yesterday to ban transgender female athletes. It's quite controversial. There are people on both sides of this, but they have they voted to ban transgender females from competing in high school and college sports. Do you agree or disagree with this proposed new law? That's next on Open Mic.
Bianchi
put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined, as always, by Adam Reardon, the man we call the deceptive intellect, and Austin Pastolka. We call him the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah.
Together we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we call home right here in Central Florida. Your next chance at $1,000, that's coming up. Make an appointment, 8:10 a.m. this morning. Actually, make an appointment 3 times a day during our show, 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m., and then on the 10s throughout the day. We call it the game day payday. Just listen for the keyword starting at 7:10 a.m. and listen for that keyword. When you hear it, don't text it in. Head to our website, 969thegame.com. Enter that word. It's that easy. And you can win $1,000 compliments of International Diamond Center. All right, this story has caused quite a bit of controversy on our text line today. It's also caused quite a bit of controversy throughout the state of Florida. The Florida House of Representatives voted Wednesday to ban transgender females from playing girls' or women's school sports. We're talking about high school sports and college sports. It's part of a national push by conservatives that could mean that the NCAA will no longer hold any of its championships in the state of Florida. All right? That's the ramifications as far as, if you want to say economic ramifications, that's the economic ramifications of this. But there's also a controversy, obviously, just by the proposed law itself. Lawmakers who voted for and they're calling it the, quote, Fairness in Women's Sports Act bill, said it is needed to protect female athletes who could, notice they say who could be denied athletic opportunities if they had to compete against transgender students who were born male. But they do concede, I'm talking about those who voted for it, concede there are no documented problems right now in the state of Florida. None at all. And a similar bill passed in Idaho that quickly landed in a court where a federal judge ruled that the state could not ban transgender females from female sports teams. Idaho's law is now on hold during appeals. So, again, if Florida does pass this law, and again, it passed the House of Representatives yesterday, it goes to the Senate now. If the Senate passes it, essentially it becomes law. The bill was sponsored by Florida Republicans. It passed 77-40. In fairness, some Democrats, not many, but some Democrats in the House also voted for it. All right, so here's my take on this, and I'll just read you something from the Associated Press story before I give you my take. Opponents of the bill noted that both the Florida High School Athletic Association and the NCAA already have adopted policies that provide ways for transgender athletes to play on high school and college teams in the state of Florida, and there have been no disputes in Florida. The FHSAA requires documentation. They require consistent identity and expression and medical information as part of its process to clear transgender students to play female sports. The NCAA allows transgender women to compete on women's teams after a year of hormone therapy and other medical testing. All right? So here's my stance. It's not an issue. It's not an issue in the state of Florida. So why are the politicians dealing with it? I get so tired. Of people who wail and whine about athletes getting involved in politics. Well, we need to be wailing and whining about politicians getting involved in athletics, all right? Don't you think that if this were an issue in women's sports in the state of Florida, if it were an issue, Let's face it, in women's sports, 99.9999% of the athletes who are competing were born female. If it were an issue, don't you think the sports organizations themselves would take care of it? Why can't we leave it to the sports organizations to take care of this? The FHSAA, it's not an issue. They have policies in place. The NCAA, it's not an issue. They have policies in place. And if it does become an issue, guess what? They will look into it. Why? Because their constituency of women's sports will demand it. That's why. So why are the politicians getting involved when they don't have to? There's no problem here, Adam Reardon. You coach women's soccer at the high school level. Have you ever had a problem with this?
No, I mean, it's never been something that's come up, and it's nice to know that in the state of Florida, we do have some boundaries to this. The NCAA has already dealt with this. Again, with these politicians and lawmakers, I'm sure their phones in their offices ring a bunch of times with a bunch of different issues that they can address. This is a problem. This is a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, as we've said before, as you just so said. When it comes to this issue, this is just political grandstanding to continue to further entrench yourself with your political base for and really to end up doing nothing. My question now would be this: if this thing comes, happens to pass, and that becomes the law in Florida, right? Comes the rule in Florida. What if you're a transgendered athlete who's playing for a team in Connecticut, and then you're playing against Florida State? You're scheduled to play. Are you breaking the law if you come here and play against Florida State?
I think you might be. Yeah. I think you would be.
Are they going to lock up the transgendered basketball player because she tipped off against Florida State in a state that doesn't
It almost sounds like back in the days before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. You were not going to allow African Americans on the same field. You're not going to allow African Americans on the same field as white players. That's against the law. Right?
It definitely feels like that. And again, I'm a guy who has two daughters who have played sports. My fiance has two daughters who play sports. So I know what it's like on the other side. But if the NCAA and the high school sports is saying, listen, they got to take a year off, you have all this evaluation go on, hormone therapy to drop their testosterone levels to the acceptable levels that we would consider in female athletes, then essentially you're competing against. I mean, look, there's bigger, stronger, faster girls than some of my girls, and so that may just be the case.
Yeah, and again, I've made my stance clear, all right? But there are two sides to this, all right? Like, for instance, there are some who argue that if a male athlete does hormone therapy for a year, wouldn't that athlete still be stronger than a woman since his muscles were previously developed? I mean, that's an argument. Again, I don't know enough about biology and the human body to be able to answer that, but that's one of the concerns out there. And it sounds reasonable. I mean, I would like to know how the NCAA and the FHSAA would respond to that. But again, it's not an issue in the state of Florida. When it becomes an issue, or if it becomes an issue, and it becomes an outcry and there's outrage, then you tackle it. But right now, let the sports organizations handle it. Let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Listen live on iHeartRadio. Now. No, seriously, do it now.
You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right. It is time for the blast here on Open Mic. The blast brought to you by Frank Gay Services. If you need an electrician or a plumber and you need them right now, go to frankgayservices.com. They will hook you up. It's frankgayservices.com. Let's start off with Open Mic Supplemental Poll number 1. Do you agree or disagree with Florida lawmakers who voted yesterday to ban transgender females from playing girls or women's school sports in the state? Agree or disagree? Mike?
Well, I think I've made it clear. I disagree, and I think Adam Reardon said it perfectly. They have solved they have come up with a solution where there is no problem. All right? We don't need a solution because there's no problem. This is not an issue in the state of Florida. No disputes in the state of Florida. And again, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. If you don't want athletes involved in politics, then why do you want politicians involved in athletics? I don't. I think sports leagues can take care of themselves and they can govern themselves without political help.
Yeah, I'm against it because, one, they've just wasted a lot of time and money invested in coming up with this because the NCAA and high school sports in this state already have dealt with this. You know, if the concern is, some kid's going to be on the JV football team, but he wants to try to go to college and he's just going to pretend to be a female to play basketball to get a scholarship to UConn, that doesn't exist. It is a boogeyman that politicians and some media members have created, and it's basically wasting money and time at this point. It's a problem that doesn't exist. Totally against it.
With 71% of the vote, the audience agrees with the bill.
What?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, this is a very, very controversial. Why do you think the politicians voted for it? Because a lot of people in the state are behind them. That's why they did it.
I see. I just think that they believe that there's that boogeyman out there that the kid's going to be on the JV team and he's going to want to take my daughter's spot on the varsity team. That's not what that's not what happens ever. It's never happened.
Thought-provoking daily poll time. Do you think all municipalities should be like Buffalo and require football fans to be vaccinated against COVID-19 if they want to attend games in the fall? Yes or no?
No, I don't think they should be like Buffalo. I think they should add to what Buffalo has done. I don't just think the fans should be vaccinated. I think the players, the NFL players and college players should be required to be vaccinated. I think the coaches. I think everybody who participates in sports where there's mass people going to the games, especially right now, yes, I think they should be required to be vaccinated. Going to a sporting event and playing a sport in the NFL or college, that's not a right. That's a privilege, and I think, yes, I think you should be required to be vaccinated.
Yeah, well, if the same people voted on this poll that voted on the last one, they're going to go, no, you shouldn't have to get vaccinated to go anywhere.
Well, Adam, 53% of the vote says no. They do not want required vaccines.
All right, well, I expected that number to be higher.
Supplemental poll number 2. After the Orlando Magic beat Nikola Vucevic and the Chicago Bulls last night, should Orlando fans take solace that the Magic, 3-7, have a better record percentage than the Bulls, who are 3-8 since the Vooch trade? Yes or no?
No, of course not. The Magic are 3-7 since the trade. The Bulls are 3-8. I will say this though, and again, you know me. If you win games, it's fun to watch the talent develop. If you don't win games, it's no fun at all right? So, yes, it was fun last night to see Wendell Carter Jr. going up against his own team and getting 19 and 12 last night. It was fun to see Dante Hall on a 10-day contract, just signed it on Tuesday. He's all over the court trying to keep a job, stay in the league. So, yeah, that's fun, but no, you don't take any solace in the fact that you're better than the Bulls who've lost 4 straight now. So, no solace.
I think you take solace in the fact that, look, you traded away, your only all-star in a long time, and he hasn't impacted them positively. And losing him hasn't necessarily impacted you negatively either. You're kind of the same team, but your young guys are getting more experience, and you recognize that's what a rebuilding process looks like. And there at least are some things to take from it that you may, in the future, go, I remember going through those days. And now look at us now. It started here, and here we are now.
65% of the vote says no, we aren't taking solace with that. Supplemental poll number 3. Does FSU's unveiling of new artistic renderings for a lavish new football facility make the facility seem more like an imminent reality or a premature pipe dream?
Read that again.
Does FSU unveiling of new artistic renderings for a lavish new football facility make the facility seem more like an imminent reality or a premature pipe dream?
I think it is. Again, I think it's like we were talking about. FSU earlier this week came out with their new name, image, and likeness plan where they hired a firm to help their athletes with name, image, and likeness. I think this is a recruiting pitch for FSU. They don't have a new facility, but when they go on recruiting visits, they'll have their artistic renderings of their new standalone and say, hey, if you sign here, you gotta look at the facility you're gonna get to be in and participate in. And that's gonna be their pitch. Now they're not saying actually it's not gonna be built for 8 years or however long it's gonna take them. So I think it's more of a pipe dream at this point.
It's meant to look like an imminent reality, but it is a pipe dream. It is exactly what I thought it was. It is the Rock Ridge of Blazing Saddles. They've put this thing out, this facade. It makes it look like it's there, but it's not really there. It's not real at this moment, and I don't think that they're going to really even start on this thing for another 3 years or so. So the recruits that sign with Florida State, by the way, if a guy commits to Florida State, go, man, I'm really excited about that players only facility. You'll be graduated and gone by the time that thing opens. So,
with 70% of the vote, premature pipe dream wins this one. Supplemental poll number 4. Should the NFL just do away with in-person off-season workouts in the future? Yes or no?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Should they just do it? I mean, they're arguing about it now. That's what the NFL Players Association wants, and they've wanted it for years. That's why they're using COVID as an excuse not to show up for the voluntary workouts and the mandatory mini camps coming up. If they were to extend training camp by a couple of weeks, all right, so give these players more time to get in shape for the season, I wouldn't really have a problem if they got rid of the OTAs in May and June. If they just, if they started training camp a couple weeks early in, July or mid-July, I wouldn't have a problem with them doing away with the OTAs and the mini camps. None at all. So, yeah, I'll vote yes.
Yeah, you can go ahead and get rid of all that. These guys are training themselves anyway, and they've hired trainers. This is where their bread is buttered, is their bodies and their performance in the league, and they're not going to sabotage themselves. And if they do, then this is the NFL.
Next man up.
Yeah, this is the NFL. You can get cut in this league, okay? This isn't Major League Baseball or the NBA where once you sign that contract, you're cashing checks. You got to show up every year. Otherwise, you'll be shown the door.
With 56% of the vote, no, they shouldn't do away with these. And finally, the open mic Would You Rather poll. Would you rather have free fast food for life? Absolutely free, whatever you want. Fast food is now all-you-can-eat buffet. Or 50% off all fancy restaurants for the rest of your life.
I mean, like Ruth's Chris or something like that?
Yep.
What, now, fast food, does Chipotle count?
Chipotle. Can you say it correctly? Chipotle.
Yeah.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
What about
Chipotle?
What about Chick-fil-A? Definitely counts.
Chick-fil-A
right?
definitely counts. If it has a drive-through, it counts.
Oh, okay.
So Chipotle wouldn't count.
Chipotle would not count. Chipotle.
Seeing how that it's not even a restaurant, Chipotle.
Exactly.
Taco Bell would count.
Taco Bell would count.
Yeah, but who needs 50% off at Taco Bell? Their stuff is like 84
No,
cents.
Taco Bell would be free.
Oh, that'd be free? Oh.
Yeah. Fancy restaurants would be 50% off.
I'm gonna go free fast food because I think you could eat healthy. I mean, you could go to McDonald's and get salad and I'm gonna go free fast food for life. Absolutely.
I would go. I myself would go with the free fast food because I could eat Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets every day. They're good for you.
Except for Sunday.
Yeah, except for Sunday. Yeah, then we can't eat on Sunday, or at least we have to pay for
grilled
it.
nuggets?
Yeah, they're grilled nuggets. 0 points on my diet.
So
fantastic.
Good. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But because my fiance does like to go to a nicer restaurant once in a while, I do like to go. I'll take that, garçon. The 50% off sounds pretty good. Like that night, she convinced me to go to Shula's once on a double date, and then we had a couple drinks, had an appetizer, two meals, and the guy brought that thing over, and we were on a double date. So like there was another guy there at the table. I felt like obligated to like grab the thing, and I looked.
You pulled it out. You pulled out the credit card.
Yeah, and I'm like, look,
I'm still paying that.
I'm looking at that check, and I'm like, how did two people eat $275 worth of food? But it's the drinks. It's the drinks that get you. I almost decided that.
That's why I never order drinks at restaurants.
Listen, I've almost decided, like, if we go to a really nice place like that, I'm gonna treat it like a Gator game. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna have a little flask in my pocket and stuff like that.
I don't do that already.
Sneak the alcohol into these really nice restaurants.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $16 for a Tito's sugar-free Red Bull.
Yeah. 71% of the vote says 50% off fancy restaurants.
There you have it. Do we still have the caller online or not?
We do. We have Matt on line 1. You want to come to him now or after the break?
Ask Matt if he'll hold on. We'll come to Matt. We're going to take your calls. A controversial topic we've been talking about, getting a lot of response. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. We will take your calls next on Open Mic.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide
require them to provide medical proof of their gender. And so I just want you to think about it. This is more in like club travel type sports, right? There's always the deal where, that kid, is too old for this age group and you have to provide a birth certificate. Now we're opening up for, that's not really a girl. You have to prove her gender. How embarrassing is that going to be for that athlete? How scarring is it going to be for that athlete when they have to prove from a doctor that they're a girl to play?
Great call. Appreciate the call. Yeah, again, it all comes back to this, though. As who was that, Matt, you said? Was that Matt?
Yep, Matt.
It's like Matt just said, the NCAA has had this in place for a decade. They have made allowances for this. The FHSAA, the Florida High School Athletics Association, have made allowances for this. Why can't we allow these sports organizations themselves to handle transgender athletes? It's their business. It's their business. It's not the state of Florida or the politicians' business, especially when it's not an issue at all. I've said this probably 5 times today. Women's athletics, women's sports, all right? Adam, you coach women's sports. 99.999% of those who participate in women's sports at the high school and college level, probably more than 99.99999% they were born female, right? So
I've got a 100% ratio at this point in my career.
Yeah. So if it were to become an issue, all right, don't you think that the 99.9999% would pass a rule in their organization to allow for the issue? Well, again, why do the politicians have to get involved when the leagues themselves have gotten involved? They've made their rules, and it's not an issue in these leagues. So, again, the Olympics, it's not an issue. The NCAA, it's not an issue. High school sports, it's not an issue. It frustrates me that, once again, we're dividing the electorate here when we don't have to. It's just a divisive topic that doesn't need to be divisive because it's not an issue.
It's a hot button topic politically that spills in, that has something to do with sports that people have run with. That's not even an issue. We just find anything to divide ourselves with politically. I remember when Starbucks put Happy Holidays on their cup. You imagine that Starbucks put Happy Holidays on their cup, and somehow, some way, that was used as a way to divide the country. Something as trivial as that. Something as stupid as Happy Holidays, and that was used to alienate certain people, or made to feel like it alienates certain people. And now we've got this, people coming up with a solution to a problem that doesn't even exist, but it is put up in the media and on blog. I can't tell you how many times you see these things on Facebook, and people start these giant conversations
Debates,
about scenarios that don't even happen. That don't even. You'd have to. If you've posted online about this, do me a favor and clip a link to a situation that you are familiar with that has impacted you in the moment, of a guy who just decided, I'm not good enough to make the boys team, I'm going to go play for the girls. You can't, because it doesn't happen. But that's the boogeyman they're using to sort of. We had 71% of people that listen to this show right now say, "Oh yeah, no, I agree that we need to have this law in place." Why do we need to have this law? There's nothing wrong with the way it's running right now. It's just dumb. But they believe the stuff that they've seen on Facebook and some of the other stuff that just isn't true.
It's, again, we are divided politically in this country, and you're right. This is a hot button issue that gets the constituencies fired up, and that's why they passed not the law, they passed the bill yesterday. So again. And the other one that's coming politically, we talked about this earlier, is the city of Buffalo, or the county that the city of Buffalo is in, Erie County. They made a proclamation yesterday. Their chief executive officer of Erie County made a proclamation that if you want to attend a Buffalo Bills football game or Buffalo Sabres hockey game come fall, you're going to have to show proof of COVID vaccination. Do we have the clip from the executive of Erie County, Mark Poloncarz?
Now people are like, we have an opportunity to protect ourselves against the greatest viral killer we've seen in 100 years, and people are like, I'm not going to do it, and you can't prevent me from going to a football game. Well, we want to ensure the safety of our public. You have no guaranteed right in the Constitution to inflict illness on other people, just like you have no guaranteed right in the Constitution to attend a Buffalo Bills football game. It's a license when you buy a ticket. It's granted. You can be removed at any time. Our goal is to ensure that everyone in there is safe.
All right, so that was the chief executive of Erie County, where Buffalo is. And this is going to be a huge political issue. In fact, it already is. I'm reading a story on the front page of the Sentinel today talking about Governor DeSantis. Here's the headline. DeSantis's ban of vaccine passports could lead to a showdown with businesses in Florida. And it's talking about how Ron DeSantis is going to overrule any sports team, like the Miami Heat have been talking about requiring a proof of vaccination for their basketball games. All right. Cruise ships, as Adam mentioned earlier, the cruise ship industry is trying to require passports, and Governor Ron DeSantis is saying, not in this state. You're not in this state. So again, it's a showdown now between the politicians and the businesses. The businesses are saying, listen, we've been shut down for a year now, and we want to make sure we don't get shut down again. And Ron DeSantis is making